Yo, what's going on? It is a little bit past 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. It means it's time for another live stream. Today is Thursday, Halloween, October 31st, 2024. I know I kind of teased on Monday that I was going to wear a costume today, but I just ran out of time. There's a lot of stuff going on at the house. Thanksgiving. Halloween is a big deal here. We did a bunch of pumpkin carving last night, and we were up late. And then Grandma and Grandpa are going to come to join for some trick-or-treating later today. So we're getting the house ready. I just got back from the grocery store, and that's why I'm running late. I had to pick up, provisions for everyone for the weekend, even though I'm leaving tomorrow morning to go to New York. So that's why I'm late. Sorry about that, guys. Before we get started today, we got a good show. 2 different watches today that we'll be unboxing. I think you could probably guess which one of them is. The other one, I believe, is already out, or maybe it has been out for a while. But I had the brand send me something anyway because they've got a new feature that I wanted to test out. And we'll get to that today. And I also have like 3. I actually have 5 other packages that I'd like to open, but we'll see how many we get through today. I brought 3 other ones down, and we'll kind of do that as we get going on the show today. But before we do that, let's say hi to everyone listening on the audio-only version on the podcast. If you guys are getting ready for New York and you're tapering, maybe you're listening to this on the way. Maybe you're at the airport, about to hop on a plane. If you are, hope you have a good flight. And for everyone watching this later but not live, maybe you were on a plane while this was happening and you could only watch it later. Hopefully your trip was okay and you made it into New York safely. You've enjoyed a slice of pizza and now your feet are up and you're just relaxing as you get ready for the race this weekend. All right. Let's see who we got here in the chat. Steve Zabrowski has a question. Says, I've noticed most influence type runners have gone away from Garmin to Coros. Why do you think this is? I think money is probably a really big part of it in terms of who's sponsoring. I don't know that Garmin sponsors athletes, not like Coros does. And so I don't know if it's people that are in social media or following what the pros are doing, or if they're getting deals from Coros. I'm not sure. But that's most likely what it is, or people are most likely just getting product only. I don't think Garmin gives out that much product either. I've only gotten 1 watch from Garmin of all the years that I've been testing GPS watches. Coros has sent most of the ones that I get from Coros. I send back because they do ask for them back, which I appreciate because I don't need to hold on to these watches. But Polar has sent me a bunch. Other brands have sent me a bunch. One of the brands that is here has sent me a bunch before. Actually, have they? No, they haven't. I bought them myself. Anyway, I think that's a big part of it. Some brands have more aggressive marketing than others. Garmin is huge. Think about they do aviation, nautical, golf, fishing, I guess nautical and fishing are kind of the same, although I think there could be separate distinctions there. So they have lots of different, way more stuff. So I just don't know if they're paying as much attention. You know what I mean? I don't know. I could be wrong on that. Alex says one has budget, one doesn't. There we go. All right. Let's see. Adam is hoping that one of these watches is the M3. We'll have to see. We'll get that in a little bit. All right. Let's see. Is there a sound problem going on here? I think so. Daniel Burton says there's no sound, but other people are saying that it was fine. Oh no, Daniel Burton said it was the phone. Okay. All right. Very cool. Martha says, Kapuzi, I really like all those Brooks shoes you unboxed in my absence. So curious what you'll think. But my current fave is the Hyperion 2, even better than its predecessor, Hyperion Max 1. Yeah, I haven't tested any of them yet. I've been wrapping up my Evo SL testing. I did want to run a couple times in the Endorphin Speed 4, just to do some other testing as well, just to make sure. But that video will be out tomorrow. So even though I got those shoes on Monday, I haven't run in any of them yet. I've been debating whether or not to bring any of them to New York. Now, I don't know which shoes I'm going to bring to New York. I'm going to be there. I don't get in until tomorrow. And then I have an easy run. I have a workout on Saturday. I'll be following the race around on Sunday. And I don't leave till late on Monday. And I think I have another workout to do. So I don't know which shoes or how many shoes to bring. I'm not going there with a brand, at least a shoe brand. So like and any events that I'm doing are not shoe branded. So I could bring kind of whatever. So we'll have to think about that. I got to look at what these workouts are. I think one of them is really fast. The second one might also be fast. So I don't know. I had a really good workout in the DV8 Nitro Elite 3 last week, and I'm thinking about bringing it again, pulling out the big guns. I feel like that's the shoe that I've run the fastest in this year. But I also really like the Fast R2. And I'm at like 95 miles in the Fast R2. So if I do one more workout in them, then I can make a 100-mile video. But I don't want to bring both Puma shoes. But I also don't want to bring two different super shoes. So maybe I don't know. And then I know that from one of the events that I'll be going to, I'll be getting a pair of shoes that's coming up. So maybe I can run in that, but I also don't like to run in a shoe until I can bring it back here, film it, and then, so I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. I'll get to those Brooks shoes eventually. I'm looking forward to them, but I just don't know when I'll get to them. Vanessa says, Happy Halloween, y'all. Yes. In a weird bit of scheduling in the neighborhood. So I live in like a new subdivision. There's still like lots of construction that's going on. And so like the roads have had like a temporary layer of asphalt down. And the way that the development is going is that they've done that because there's still lots of heavy trucks and stuff coming through. So they felt like the road's going to get pretty chewed up with all that heavy machinery coming through. So no need to like finish the roads. So there's been like, like you have to be careful when you're driving around like the manhole covers, and like there's a lip between like the curb and then the grade of the road. And parts of the neighborhood where like they know that heavy equipment won't be going through anymore. Once that happens, then they finish paving the road. They're going to finish paving the road today in this neighborhood on Halloween. It doesn't make any sense to me. This morning, I think they were drilling a new manhole cover or something. They were jackhammering in front of my house, not my house, in front of my neighbor's house at like 7:00 in the morning. I don't know what's going on. So Halloween for sure. I also feel like this could be the backdrop of like, this is how like a zombie movie starts. Like, oh, weird construction going on in the sewers. Like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like Halloween movie would start this way, right? And then, everyone's complaining. Sure is weird that they're doing all this sewer work on Halloween morning, right? So that's kind of what's going on in my neighborhood. That's how my Halloween is going. Let's see. What else have we got here? Owen247 has a running shoe question. Says, hey, Kahuzi, can you recommend a plated shoe that is both stable and wide for a runner who usually wears a mild stability shoe like the Hoka Arahi? I would say, well, I mean, technically like the Skyward X is plated, but that's not really a speedy shoe. I would look at like the Hyperion Elite. The 4, maybe. I feel like the 3 and 2 felt much wider. They had a really wide footprint. The foam isn't the softest, but if you need stability or mild stability, that could be a really good option for you there. It's on the firmer side. I also feel like the Endorphin Pro 4 is squishy, a little bit too mushy for my preference this year, but I also feel like the way the geometry is of the midsole foam, the way they've shaped it, even though it does squish a little bit more than I'd like as a racing shoe, I do feel, and usually squishiness and stability don't go together, I do feel like the way that that shoe is shaped, that might be another one to look at too. So that one's a little bit more current. So I would look at those. Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. All right. Santosh Kutwal says, hey, running my first marathon in Indianapolis next Saturday. I know you run this before. Any tips or suggestions? It's been a long time since I ran it. I think I ran it in 2019, maybe. it might have even been 2018. So it's been a long time. I know there's people here who have run it much more recently. I would say that just be careful of tripping hazards in the beginning. It was a little bit crowded and a little bit dark. Sometimes with the way they're funneling you through, there's like curves and like little medians and islands of concrete that you kind of want to be careful for. So just be aware of that. Don't rush. The crowd will work itself through. But those beginning miles were a little bit crowded. All right. Sega Dreamcast says, best of luck, Santosh. Is anyone else running Indianapolis? Guys, I've been thinking, and my wife is always, I do this a lot. I talk about like things that I don't want to do again, like in the following years and stuff. And my wife was always like, don't be broadcasting that you're not interested in doing stuff. Because what if a brand is like, hey, we want to do something really cool and exciting, and you would do it if that cool and exciting opportunity popped up, but you don't know about it yet. You've already told people you're not going, and so they don't ask you. But I don't know that I'm going to go to, I've already mentioned this to you guys though. I don't know that I'm going to go to New York again next year because the New York Marathon is like on November 2nd or 1st or something like that next year. So like Friday would be Halloween. This year it's Thursday before the race. Next year's Friday, and I don't want to miss Halloween. I feel like my kids have only like a couple more years where they're going to really be into it. So that's why I don't think I'm going to go to New York again next year. So that it frees up a little bit in November. I've been thinking about, I was talking to my wife about it yesterday too while we were cleaning up after dinner. What do I want to do for 2025? I'm thinking if I can get into Valencia, maybe I'll do that. I'm hoping that I'll be going to Australia in the early part of the fall. So then will I even want to do, I mean, Indianapolis isn't that hard of a trip. It's a long drive from Crystal Lake, but it'd be a pretty fun trip to go. I don't know that a lot of people go to Indianapolis to spectate though. So that might be a little bit odd for me to do. But I do feel like a lot of people go to Indianapolis, and I feel like it could potentially have a really good CIM type feel. You know, and Oliver always, every time I mention December, he says Dallas half or full for December 2025. I feel like, I mean, I don't want to say that Dallas is a second choice city by any means, but like I do, I mean, if I can't get into Valencia, I'll be definitely looking at Dallas. JC also pushing for Dallas in December next year. All right. Calvin says, New Balance SC Elite version 5 leaked on Reddit. Almost looked more like the SC Trainer, much more daily trainery. Look to the upper outsole also changed with inspiration from the RC Elite version 1 outsole. I love that RC Elite version 1. It was not a marathon racing shoe at all, but that shoe was fun. It looked like a tennis ball on top, and I don't even know what it looked like on the bottom. It was super spiky, but that was fun. That was a fun shoe. Interesting. I wonder if we'll see. Are there any New Balance athletes? Which New Balance athletes are running New York this weekend? I wonder if we'll see that at all on the feet of any racers. Interesting. Yeah, Eric says Port Valencia got hammered by floods recently, nearly 100 people dead. And I think that's been a really strange non-response from the running community because the world record in the half marathon was set there last weekend. And in just a couple of weeks, so many people are beginning to be going there to run a marathon. And it just feels like I feel like I should have seen someone being like, I can't believe it. I was just there. I just ran there last week. You know, I felt like I should have seen something like that. But I mean, not that anyone like has an obligation or whatever to post, but it's pretty wild how like Valencia is so in the news right now for the flash floods and so not in running news, even though this event could have pretty significant implication. I mean, maybe the area of the rain, the worst of the mudslides and everything that happened is different than where the races run. And so maybe it's not impacted at all. But I just feel like there's a big disconnect there. And it's been bothering me for a couple days. I'm glad you mentioned something, Eric. Because like some of the images that I've seen from there, it's it's wild. It's like the stuff that you're seeing. I mean, I know it wasn't a hurricane that went through there. I don't know. Do they get hurricanes in Valencia yet? But like, it wasn't like the hurricanes we saw in the Carolinas or in Florida right before Chicago Marathon. But why? Like, that's a lot of devastation. That's a lot of people. You know, I don't know. Kurt says, "Oh, they deleted it already off of Reddit." Oh, okay, that's funny. Steven76 wants to know if Colin Farrell wore the Endorphin Elite at the Dublin Marathon last weekend. I'm not sure. I didn't see what shoes he ran in. I saw that he ran and he had that fundraiser for it. It's a pretty phenomenal story. Was there any other news out of Dublin Marathon? But anyway, that was pretty cool. I've been I got to find the name of it for you. I found this new, speaking of New Balance and Ireland. It's a relatively new YouTube channel. There's a guy, he's a professional runner, runs for New Balance, and he's training in Ireland. And they've been making videos, and the videos seem to be really delayed because we're getting videos from like the beginning of the season, and there's only like 4 or 5 videos, but they're really good. I don't understand half the words, but a lot of times it's subtitled, so that's fun. But it's been just a really fantastic channel to watch. Very relaxing. You know, I don't know. I'll have to find it for you guys. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Scuba Sun says, "What's Steven Scullion doing these days?" I was just thinking about him the other day as well. I checked in on his channel just to make sure. Are there videos still going on there? And it looks like it. But I don't know. I mean, he had announced his, retirement. Not retirement. That he got dropped from Under Armour, and then he was going to just continue going as a non-professional athlete anymore. I feel like he took it really hard that he could no longer call himself a professional athlete. I think that, I mean, I guess I could understand that could be really damaging to the sense of identity. But that seemed to be a big thing for him, and I wanted to interview him about it. It ended up not ever happening. But, yeah, I haven't heard much from him since. But the last video that I did see that he had made, he was still kitted out in Under Armour. So I don't know if they came to a different understanding or what. Otto Vagrinsic says, "Good afternoon, everyone who's ready for New York." It feels like it's still so far away, but I've been following Chris Chung on Threads. He's been going to like every pop-up early and has been posting photos from them all. So I feel like, oh, no, I don't have to go to any of these because now I know what they'll look like. But it's been good to kind of get a preview, and then I'll be like, don't need to go to that one, don't need to go to this one. But at the same time, I'm like, I haven't packed yet. I don't leave till tomorrow. Normally, I'm already there, so I feel like I'm not as connected to it yet. But as soon as I get there tomorrow, I'll be going to an Under Armour event. I'll be meeting up with Drew. I think I'm going to an Under Armour event. I don't know. I'm getting the vibe that they kind of don't. They invited me and now they don't want me to go there. But it's weird. Maybe I'll go anyway. I don't know. Matt Legrand's here. Says, "Yoko, what's going on?" What's going on, Matt? Matt, I did a review on one of the watches that we'll be unboxing today. And while we're doing that, we might as well get to it. I think it's this box is the one that you guys have already figured out what that is, and that I think is the one that Matt. I think this is the one that Matt already has reviewed. I've had this for a while, but then I kind of forgot about it because there was an embargo till today. And whenever there's like long embargoes, I always forget, especially with watches, because I feel like I never get the watches with enough time for me to want to do a watch review video. Plus, I also don't love watch review videos anymore because I don't know. I just feel like I get a lot of flack no matter what I do, in a watch review video. But here it is. We have the Coros Pace Pro. And for a while, when I heard that they were sending this to me, I was like, oh, that's cool. An update to one of my favorite Coroses. And in my mind, I confused the Apex and the Apex Pro, right, with the Pace momentarily. Because I was like, the Pace was always just the Pace 1, 2, or 3, right? Which also just came out recently. And now, so when they said Pro, I was like, oh, the Apex. The Apex was my favorite one. I like the GPS performance of the Apex 2, but I prefer the weight and size of the Apex 2 non-Pro. But instead, what we have is the Coros Pace Pro, which what's interesting is on the website for Coros, the Apex 2 and the Apex 2 Pro are kind of like in the same product listing, and you just toggle, do you want the Pro or not Pro? Coros Pace and Coros Pace Pro have separate listings. So, I don't know. Let's take a look inside the box. I'm going to try to be more careful with it because I don't know if they want this one back. But in case they do. Got the lid. I think this is paper. Maybe there's a cable in there. And then we've got Explore Perfection with some track lines on there. This is heavy for a Pace. I should have brought my other Pace just for reference. And you know what? I should have brought my other AMOLED. So the big story here is that the Pace now has a bigger, brighter AMOLED screen. I don't know anything other than that, if there are actually other updates over the Pace 3, for example. But that's like kind of the big headline for me. Now, I don't know if they do this because they know that I don't like regular silicone bands, but they did, in just like a little baggie, put in a Velcro strap for me. It's a Coros branded one, so it's not like they put in a random one. They put in a Coros one for me. So I definitely appreciate that. That's awesome. Thanks, Coros. So, all right. See, you guys already know. Richard Wilson says it has maps. Tony wants to put it on the shoe scale. Yeah. And Sean says Chase's Summit had a good review today. And Matt says, you probably have an extra nylon watch band option in the box, but that costs people extra. Okay, there we go. And Calvin says the nylon is better than the silicone bands. I agree. They look nicer, for sure. But this thing just jiggles on my wrist, whenever. And Adam says, high school phenom Sadie Englehart is in a lot of Coros ads. Is she? Oh, I don't get Coros ads. Maybe, do I? I don't know. Oh, well, Sega Dreamcast has fastest node marathon watch sheet. That would be funny. If and as proof of each one, there's a picture of the athlete crossing the finish line, clicking their watch. That would be funny. All right, let's get this thing on. The main thing I want to show you guys right now, because I'll have to it'll take me a while to actually go through and test this. And I'm debating, do I bring both of these watches with me to New York? But I just want to see how bright it is. It feels like the buttons are more substantial this time. This one right here is red. So we've got a red one over here. And then the clickable dial on the top. Still only 2 buttons, which I feel like there should be more than 2. Already, this is nice and bright. I like it a lot. I mean, that was always the trade-off with Coros Pace, right? It's super lightweight, almost too lightweight, like a toy. But you're never going to notice that it's there. The battery lasts forever. The screen was a little bit dim. It could have been brighter, but for the purpose of glancing down at your wrist to see if you're on pace or not, it seemed fine. Sending my language to English. And then I got to do this. See, this is the part that's always annoying. Let's get it set up. Oh, man. See, when I got a new phone, then I had to relog into stuff. And I guess I haven't logged into a Coros device since I got this new phone. Oh, man. I don't know what the password I used was. And what I'm trying to do real careful is not slowly mouth all the letters. Because I do that whenever I'm typing in a password. I always like mouth. What am I doing? Okay, it's pairing. Because I remember the right password. It was not my latest crazy password. It's my second one. My it says Napoleon 1492. My wife gave me a hard time because I used to have a very easy to figure out password, and part of her job responsibilities include security. So she was really, really mad about it. Restore to previous settings to my Pace 3, the one that was last synced in June. Okay, we'll see what it does. Oh, okay. So now I got as far as I want to get. Is that I've got I could show it to you guys. Stevie76 says it's cybersecurity month. Is it? Is it really? But here we go. So the colors are nice, really vibrant. I like that a lot. Let's see if I can. Look how bright that is. I'm fully recovered though. This is the only time this will show 100%. It's because I haven't run with the Coros watch in like 6 months, I guess. 4 months. Here we go. There you go. Nice. I didn't know that I'm at 1,000 feet of altitude. Maybe I did know that. I don't know. But there we go. Jeremy Cahill says, "Are you implying that I like to run isn't the best password?" If I were to use I like to run, it would be exclamation point like. I like that you did too, because then you got a number, but there isn't a special character. Oh wait, you did I like to run exclamation. My wife really hates it when I just put an exclamation point at the end of a very simple password. And Matt wants to know what's my daily driver. Right now it's the 265. Because as much as I don't want to admit I like the bright shiny screen, I love the bright shiny screen. Is it worth the extra cost? I'm not sure. But the one time Garmin actually did send me a product, it was the 265. I had bought the 255, one of those on my own, and I thought that was great. It does everything I needed to do. But then they sent me a 265, and I'm like, oh, this is better. It's much prettier. Vanessa says, at my job, we have to watch cheesy cybersecurity videos every month and then take a pop quiz. That's funny. That's good, though. I feel like lots of workplaces need that. What's really funny for me? So, like, cybersecurity for me is, like, I'll get an email from, quote-unquote, Sony and, quote-unquote, Logitech. And it'll be, like, very clearly not a real email. And the email address is always from some, at something dot in a 2-letter country combo that I do not even recognize. And it's like, it'll be like the same scammer. Not the same exact email address, but like the same weird, obscure, like domain and country code. And I'm like, you gotta figure something else out other than that. I don't know. Calvin says, I got my Epix Pro 2 42 millimeters for very simple reasons. Smaller size, but sapphire crystal. Flashlight, so useful. And the AMOLED. All the other crazy features I don't really use. I don't really use a lot of the features too. I remember years ago. I don't know. Well, I feel like it's been years, so I think I can have. No, I probably can't share this conversation. But anyway, there's a lot of features that I don't use on a watch. I probably could use more, but I just feel like I've tried heart rate training, power based training, pace based training, which I guess is what I'm doing again now, and effort based training. And I feel like I've kind of dialed into like what are the things that I can actually pay attention to. I still need to start testing that stride foot pod for the foot motion thing. So I guess I got more data to study. All right. All right. I am interested to see what the maps. If there's maps on this Coros Pro, I'm interested to see what the maps are going to look like. This is very pretty and looks very similar to my Garmin 265, which I suppose has always been true about Garmin versus Coros. Matt says having a real built-in flashlight is actually amazing. It's hard not to have it. I don't think I've ever had a watch with a flashlight built into it. Well, I mean, Apple Watch has it, right? But I guess usually I just use my phone in that kind of situation. But yeah. All right. Eliza wants to know what's in the other box. Now, this box I've had for a really long time. They're actually probably mad that I haven't opened it yet. I don't know how to... Where do I open this one? But yeah, I think this is a brand that has never sent me a product before. Although it's the brand that was the first actual running watch I ever bought. It was from this brand. All right, so they got two things in here for me. Suunto sent me the Suunto 9 Peak Pro titanium slate. That's a lot of fancy words. I have a feeling there's a lot of features in this watch that I won't really take advantage of. But they also sent me a new heart rate monitor and a heart rate belt. And the reason why we're talking is because they have a new feature that's supposed to help figure out your VO2 max testing. And if I'm correct, they can tell you an estimation of what your VO2 max or what your your lactate numbers are, not VO2 max. It's related to threshold, but what your lactate threshold numbers are in real time, if I'm not mistaken. And they were like, "Do you have a Suunto heart rate monitor that you can test this?" I'm like, "I do, but it's about 9 years old." They're like, "We might need to get you a new one." And I'm like, my Suunto watch is also about, I had the Suunto 5 when that first came out. So I feel like that's also about 9 years old. You may want to send me a new one if you can. If you have a loaner, send me a loaner. But they sent me a brand new one. So here we go. This packaging is very nice. Very Apple Watch-like. Very Apple Watch-like, the way you open it up. It's like a pop-up book. It says, "Congratulations on your new watch. Suunto will guide and support you, whatever the reason, whatever the season." It's very festive. Your adventure starts here, the Suunto team. And this box is really nice. Ooh. Okay. We've got this side cable. And then I think this little icon here means papers. And then here's the watch part. Adventure starts here. In 5 seconds, I think. That was nice. I like that. Let's see, where's the band? Here we go. Here's the band right behind this little Suunto 9 Peak Pro thing. Let's get it turned on. There's 3 buttons on this one. This thing feels nice. It feels like an instrument, you know? the LCD seems a little small, even though the watch itself is big. Let's get it on. Itai wants to know, how do they measure it real time? So I think it's an extrapolation using heart rate and some other data. I'm assuming it'll have to get to know you first, but I'm thinking that they've probably figured out some sort of algorithm that can estimate what a lactate number would be, if I'm understanding what they're advertising correctly. I don't know. Yeah, so, all right. Now it's asking me to define. I just want to see how bright the screen is. The last thing I remember about Suunto, which was the 5, was that it is, it was not the brightest of screens. You know what's the, so I haven't had a Suunto like a watch in a long time, and I haven't, it's not asking me to like connect to the app yet. It's asking me, first asked me if I'm male or female, and now it's asking me how old I am. Guess what year is the year that starts out for what the age picker would be? Guess. I'll give you guys some time. JC wants me to turn off the lights. Well, I mean, I feel like, there are like, studio lights in here, so I guess that would affect how bright it seems. But I can put it up next to the AMOLED to give you a sense of brightness or dimness. Calvin thinks it'd be if it was 2000, that'd be a 24-year-old person somehow. I don't know. Lots of guesses for 1492. Love it. Steven does have, so like the default would be for 14 years old. Yeah. Albert L had it right. The default age is 1990, which is, that's a 35-year-old person, 34-year-old person. I got to go a little bit further back. No, the other way. See, now I feel old. Oh my goodness. Suunto kicking me in the pants just right from the beginning. Barely even opened this thing up and already it's insulting me. I don't know what my weight is right now. I don't really weigh myself. Let's say that. 5 feet, 10 inches. Now I got to connect it with the app. All right. There we go. I don't think I even have the Suunto app. I have to download that. So I'll get this downloaded and we can chat some more. Hold on. Let me get that started. Oh, I have downloaded it before at some point, but I definitely don't know what the password's going to be on that one. Matt says just put 400 pounds. Do you think it would? Oh, that would certainly throw off the lactate threshold estimations, wouldn't it? Steven does stuff says for that watch. I'd be scrolling for 20 minutes. Yeah. Calvin says Suunto's training readiness score for old. Oh, that's how I feel. Oh man. Yeah, Matt says it'd be interesting to ask how they come up with that number. Is that the average age of their users? I wonder. I don't know. My guess is that like it was someone's job to program this. Yeah. Can you imagine if it was just a peer pressure situation? They gave the job to the most junior programmer, and this junior programmer is just like, I don't know, everyone in here is old, so I'll put 1990. That seems like how old everyone else is in here, all these old dudes. And then when they reviewed the UI, they were like, you put 1990 in here. And that junior developer was like, yeah, I felt like we sell watches to a lot of old people, so I put in an old age. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, sure, it makes sense. No one wanted to admit that they're way older than a 1990 birth year. Yeah. Calvin said maybe it's the median age. I feel like it's just a nice round number. I feel like they should have just picked 2000. It would have made the watch feel futuristic, but that also would have been devastating to my self-esteem. JC says you were born in the last century. That's how old. I forget. Oh, I remember what I was thinking about. I was thinking about this is a long conversation, a long setup, but I was just The short of it is, I was thinking about what year I took a philosophy class in college, and that would have been at the turn of the century, maybe 1999 or 2000, maybe 2001. But either in either event, a quarter of a century ago. Oh my goodness. Mm. Unathletic Dad says, when I was 26, I was teaching 7th and 8th graders, and one of my students asked me what it was like to be middle aged. I think that's so funny. Um, that's hilarious. Like, my younger daughter, let's see how I'm trying to log into this thing. My younger daughter has a who's in 3rd grade now. Oh, who knows what this password's going to be? That's not it. I'm just going to hit forgot password. So her teacher, I think this is her first job, like out of college, out of teaching school. Not that they go to separate teaching school, but out of college, and like she has her degree and all that stuff, and the certifications and whatever. Like, so she's been in classrooms before. Is the point I'm saying. So it's not her first time stepping foot in a classroom, but I think this is her first time having her own classroom. And it's not because she came to teaching later in life. This is basically her first job out of college. And I haven't had a chance to meet that teacher yet. I think I was out of town for when the parent teacher conferences were. So I haven't had a chance to meet that password. I said password because it's asking me to set up a password. So I haven't had a chance to meet that teacher yet. But I just have to feel like, I remember when my wife came back, I was like, was Miss, whatever her name is. I know her name, but I just don't want to say it on the internet. I'm like, what, did she look like a baby? And my wife was like, yeah. And I'm like, think about it. This teacher is younger than some of our oldest nieces and nephews. Like, that's how young this person is. So I just feel like that's how old we are, that our child's teacher is young enough to be my niece. And that made me feel old too. So yeah, there's that. All right. I think I'm getting closer. All right. Oh, wait. Oh boy. See, my wife made me pick a really long one, and now if I have a typo, it takes so long. Oh boy, now I got to do this verification code. What is happening? This takes so long. It didn't send me a code. I don't know if this is gonna work, but we'll keep trying. Calvin says, if you were born before 1998, you're older than Google. Yeah, I'm definitely older than Google. One thing that I think is really funny, that I didn't even realize, is that young kids today, none of them have basically like regular like email addresses. And so my email address is co.mike@gmail. And people are like, how did you get that? How come you didn't have to put any letters or numbers in that? I was like, I'm old. And so I was like, I think we both came to that conclusion at the same time. They were like, oh, and I was like, oh, it's because I'm old. So that's why. All right. Now I have to do a lot of. All right. Now it's finally looking for devices now. Okay. They want lots of stick. I don't want marketing communication though. Okay. This is a very pretty watch though. I feel like it's going to be a little bit dim for my aging, past middle age eyes. Though it's trying to connect. It's trying to find it, but we'll see. Adam says, how many of you ever use a rotary or a payphone? I used to use a payphone all the time. How else would you tell your parents that practice was over? Daniel Burton says, when I was in high school, we had no smartphones. I bought my first smartphone in 2008. I was in law school. No, it would have been 2000. Yeah, 2000. No, I think I bought one in law school. So maybe 2005, 2006. Yeah. Adam says, I used to run through airports checking payphones for change. Matt says, it's only going to get crazier when these jobs are full of our actual kids aged people. Another funny thing is the high school where my wife graduated from high school. That's an awkward way of saying that. My wife's high school, where, her siblings also graduated from the same high school. The track coach over there now is friends with my brother-in-law, so my wife's younger brother. And I first met that track coach way before he was a track coach. When he was in college, I went to go visit my brother-in-law when he graduated from college. And like my first impression, and like I've heard all these stories about the track coach at that school, and they're all ridiculous drinking stories. And like, so this one time it's like 4:00 in the morning and we've been drinking all night kind of stories. So that's all. And I've met him one time and like everything lines up. And like, he's also now the track coach. So I just think that's really funny. It's really weird. Luis says, I still have my Hotmail account. I stopped using my Hotmail account a long time ago. I was like, oh. Sega Dreamcast says, Mike, was your Google account from when you still needed to be invited? I think it might be. It might be. It's possible. I don't see, this watch isn't showing up. So this is the Suunto 9 Peak Pro. Yes. It's not pairing. Okay. Okay. Where'd that Suunto app go? It's been a long time. Okay. Oh, he found it. Okay, found it. I had to press a button on the watch. I hadn't pressed the button. Oh boy, it's asking for a passkey. Okay, mobile paired. There we go. All right. Device is now paired. All right, so here it is. I don't know if this is like remembering my last used ones. It's not as pretty as the Coros Pace Pro. But if it can give me like lactate measurements, or what I think would be lactate measurements, that's pretty cool. Or lactate type measurements. It's not going to measure my lactate. Here we go. Interesting. Blood oxygen, altitude. Interesting. Okay. All right. How do I leave this? Okay, there we go. Back here. So, still maybe a little bit on the dim side, but maybe it's just coming from an AMOLED. But those are the two watches for today. I guess I could try and put this thing on. Now, the other event that I was supposed to go to that I declined to go to, I mentioned it earlier, was another watch event. And there's, I guess, it wasn't like my sense is that it wasn't like an Apple event. Like, I don't think Tim Cook was going to be there. But in New York, they were doing something where, I think I put this on upside down. They were going to have like a run and have people demo the Apple Watch Ultra 2. And I wasn't going to be in New York on Wednesday. It was yesterday. So I told them, I would love to go. I run with an Apple Watch every day, but I don't use it to actually track my running. I use it as a phone, basically. So I don't have to carry a phone. And they're like, oh, interesting. You'd be the perfect candidate for an Apple Watch 2. We'll have to send you one sometime. And where are you based out of? I was like, I'm based out of Chicago. I'm like, all right, when we have an event in Chicago, we'll hit you up. And I'm like, okay. So I don't know if that was just their nice way of saying like, well, sorry you couldn't make the event. But it was hard to say no to that because, I've been wanting to work with Apple for a long time. It's kind of hard to break into that. I don't know how other people have been able to do that. Like I see like when people go to like the regular, like the actual Apple keynotes and stuff. It looks super cool. I want to be invited, but I don't get invited. So it was weird to say no. But I feel like sometimes you gotta say no. But here's what the watch looks like on the wrist. It's good size. The silicone is kind of like soft, almost like that fuzzy kind of rubber. You know what I mean? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like, it's not like Alcantara, like that fabricy material, but it's kind of a different kind of rubbery material. But it feels really nice and soft on the skin. The weight of the watch is nice. It feels way more premium than this Coros one. This Coros one feels more like they took it off of a Casio G-Shock kind of thing. Which I always wonder, like, Casio has tried to make smart watches, right? I don't know why that never worked out. Yeah. So, I mean, these are very different watches for very different kinds of uses, but the Suunto is way heavier. The Pace Pro is way prettier. The Suunto feels much more comfortable and feels much more premium, which are all things that make sense based on the price points and who they're targeting for these. And then we'll have to try this new heart rate monitor too. So, and hopefully I haven't like totally botched what the intended benefits are. I'll have to go back and look at those emails to see what they were telling me this heart rate monitor can do. So we'll see. Sega Dreamcast says it's a very grown-up looking watch compared to the Coros, especially with like the regular Pace. Yeah. Cousin Michael says people born in 1990 love this watch. That's funny. Unathletic Dad says all this watch makes me think Co is going to start reviewing luxury Swiss watches. Yeah, that's a whole different that's a different corner of the internet. There's a lot of people doing those already. I don't think that I have the eye for detail for that kind of work. I just also don't have anywhere that I want to wear like a fancy watch. You know what I mean? Like I don't even want to. I own pants and I own like a pair of slacks. I got rid of most of them when I stopped going to an office. So like I don't even have a place to. Wouldn't have clothes to wear with a nice watch. I guess I still do have a tuxedo. Because you never. I mean, I bought one a while ago. Because I needed to have my own tuxedo a while ago. I didn't need to, but I felt like it made sense. And I figured, why you don't have to get rid of a tuxedo. The style never changes, at least for men. Like that kind of formula doesn't change. You can keep the same one for forever. Assuming I still fit in it, I don't know, but yeah. Matt says, those fancy watch channels are crazy. I complain about the price of a $350 watch. Yeah, I mean, pricing is so weird. Pricing is such a weird thing. I mean, I know they're not competing products, but they kind of are competing products. And to the extent that, like, they are things that cost money, they, at some very abstract level, do compete, And Sega Dreamcast says, like, what, you don't want to drop $12,000 on a used Rolex Submariner? No, I mean, I have as nice of a watch as I want. My wife and daughter got me one for my first Father's Day. So if you ever do see me wearing like a regular watch, it's not a super nice watch, but like if you see me wearing like a non-sports watch, that's the one that I'm wearing. The only other one that I could ever see myself really getting at this point would be I saw, because I went down like a Tim Waltz fan club rabbit hole one time. He has a nice watch, but it's not like just this like ostentatious thing. It's the same watch from Interstellar. Like he has that one because he really liked that movie, which that's like one of my favorite movies. So he has the same watch from Interstellar. And that's the one that he wears all the time. So, yeah. Steven wants to know, does the Rolex Submariner tell you your VO2 max? I don't even know if it... I feel like that one should tell you your O2 sats, though. Shouldn't it? I don't know. On Athletic Data, it says, that watch is made by Hamilton. It's called the Murph. Did they call it the Murph now? Or did they make that for the movie? Why is it called the Murph? Like, is it a coincidence that it's called the Murph? Or did they rename it? How did that work? Did the person who wrote Interstellar really like that watch, and then that's how they named one of the main characters of the movie? I don't know. Interesting. Martha says, I still haven't seen Interstellar. Do I need to see it? Juliana VB says, yes, it's an awesome movie. Want to watch it again. It's one of my favorite movies. I find myself watching it a lot when I'm traveling and away from my kids, which is probably not the best time to be watching that movie. But that's when I end up watching it a lot, when I'm alone. I also really enjoy Lightyear, which has a very similar theme. Remarkably similar theme, even though one's a cartoon and one is not. And I was having a conversation with Herm. I wasn't having a conversation. We were talking on Threads. We were commenting back and forth on Threads. How he had just seen WALL-E for the first time recently. And I also love that movie. And I really want there to be a spin-off movie because like Lightyear was a spin-off from the Toy Story series. I would love to have a spin-off movie called like The Axiom, where we go more into like not the origin story, but the development of how it went from like, this is our, spoiler alert for if you haven't seen WALL-E, how it goes from like, this is our lifeboat to this is just where we live now. I would love to see that. Like, I want to see like the villain origin story. Like, who was the person that was like, no, we're never leaving? I don't know. And Nick Newland says that Interstellar is coming back to theaters soon. I would love to go see that. I didn't see it in theaters. I missed it. I think I saw it on an airplane. It was one of those times where like, you're on an airplane and you're like, oh, but no one notices on this airplane that I'm crying and watching a movie kind of thing. That definitely happened to me with Interstellar. Alex says, the story of all the generals or the admirals. Yes, I need that. Yeah, that I would want to watch that story. I also feel like an animated series would work. Maybe a spin-off like Ahsoka or The Mandalorian, but it's called the Admirals. Like, that would work. I would totally do that. Stevie76 says, WALL-E was not in my bingo card today. All right, where are we going to do this bingo game? I feel like our best shot is in Boston. I think that we can either... I'll have to... Well, I think my best two shots are we can hit up either Rabbit or A6 and see, like... Because, like, their pop-ups close, like, in the evenings, like, at dinner time. So I feel like maybe we can ask them, like, can we... like Fight Club style. We just really like your basement. Can we crash their basement and play bingo? One says, yes, do it in Boston with Rabbit. I'm gonna have to ask them. I'll be talking to some. I think I'll be meeting with some A6 people this weekend. I mean, I'm gonna be going to the Bandit pop-up, but I assume they'll be there. But I don't know. Adrian Rousseau says, any news on the new Nova 5? So I just talked to my ASICS person. He's sending me a pair. I don't know that I'm going to get it before I leave for New York tomorrow because he just told me he was sending it yesterday. Sometimes they overnight me stuff, but I don't think that they would. I don't know that they would do that. I just feel like they got the shipments kind of late, maybe, which happens sometimes. So I don't know. I may or may not have it before New York. Hopefully, if I do get it before New York, hope I have enough time to like film it first in the studio so that I can run in it. You know, otherwise, if I don't have it, like if it arrives like as I'm leaving for the airport, which won't be the situation because I have to leave for the airport at like 4 or 5:30 in the morning. But yeah, like 5:30 in the morning tomorrow. But yeah, I probably won't bring it, but because I'm not in a super hurry. It doesn't come out till December 1, but I am excited for it. All right, Patrick Smith, and we'll end with this one today. Any last minute hints and tips for first timer New York City marathon runner? Hint, I am asking for me. Well, I'm excited for you, Patrick. New York Marathon is a really great race. It's a very hard race, so just keep that in mind. It's a very difficult course. So the same advice I've been giving people for Chicago too is, like when the crowds are going crazy and it makes you feel really good, just try to absorb it all, but don't go faster. So just like enjoy and savor moments and enjoy all, like whenever you feel good, just really enjoy it. And, but stick with the plan. I think it's a really tough course. It's gratifying, it's worth it, but it's very hard. So just enjoy and savor all the good moments that you can. That's what I'd say. Growing with Oliver says, enjoy Halloween tonight, Co. Remember, as a parent, you were the ghost of your children's future. That's very nice. All right. Yeah, and Calvin says, enjoy the crowds. Don't go for time if it's your first time. An experience that's darn near impossible to replicate in any other race. Yeah. So good luck to all the New York City runners. Hopefully I'll get to see you guys on Saturday morning, 8 a.m. with Runna. I think I put the link for it in the description here on this video. It's technically full, but if you just want to join us for the run, just come anyway. You'll be fine. There's always space for a run on the run outside, but there's stuff like bag drop and like coffee and other supplies that they have to account for. So there's RSVP limits on it. But if you just want to join for the run, we can go for a run. I'll stick around for selfies outside before I head inside. So we'll have time for all that stuff too. So hopefully I'll see you guys there. I know there's lots of other stuff going on. So if I don't see you, I won't take offense to it. But if you are racing, hopefully I'll see you out there on the course. I'll be out there. So hopefully I'll be able to cheer you guys on. All right, guys. Until I see you guys again, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.